Hello guys, it's your boy. I'm finally back with making YouTube videos. I was playing Doom Eternal for a while, which is why I hadn't made a video in a while. I finally got Doom Eternal. I actually had to get a new computer because my old computer couldn't even support Doom Eternal. So I got a new computer and I got Doom Eternal, and it is awesome. It's an awesome game, and I already beat it because it was awesome. And I also learned more things about some of the characters and stuff. So I'm not very happy with my last Doom Eternal video. It's not the best. And at the time, I thought it was like the best thing ever. When it really wasn't, then my characters kind of look crappy. They definitely weren't the size that they should be, which is the main, I don't know why, but the main thing I have a problem with, some of these characters. But that's where I am now, and I'm here to show you the fixes and the corrections I made on these characters. And of course, the first one I had to fix was, well, Doomguy. I didn't really like my old version of Doomguy, and in fact, I'm still kind of iffy on this one. The main thing that I had to fix was like the three different shades of green. I really did not like that, and I really love this shade of green on him. It looks great. And I did add details to his chest. I added lots of brown, which his shoulder pads are the main thing that look out of place. Especially his shoulders are so wide and they stick out a lot. That's just the body piece I used, but this shoulder pad should be brown and this one should be green. Well, I wish it was a shade of green, but I don't even think these shoulder pads come in those shades. These spikes on his arms shouldn't be this like crazy. They're just little bumps, but I actually have the McFarlane Doomguy in the background there, or right next to my TV. But I added a lot more, well, brown, said this. The one thing I usually like doing with these characters is I use Hero Factory and armor pieces for the arms, but when it comes to legs and stuff, I usually use Bionicle pieces, and then I just add Lego pieces onto it. It kind of looks weird from the back, but from the front, it looks great. So that's the main reason why I do it. And besides, I'm not going to display this dude like this on the shelf. So, his shoulder cannon can kind of come out through the front. And now that I've actually played the game, I know that it's not only a flamethrower, but it shoots grenades and ice bombs, depending on whatever you want to shoot it on, or depending whatever you want to shoot. And instead of just using a plain Bionicle sword, I actually made one out of Lego. It's folded up right now, but you can still clearly see it. But when it folds out, there we go. It looks pretty good when it's folded out. And that's really all the changes I made to Doomguy. I mean, I just wanted to fix the green and add more brown. And yeah. And now we're going to be talking about the weapons, because I know most of these weapons I've already showed you guys, but I have improved on them greatly, and I wanted to show you some. So first, the combat shotgun. Yeah, it looks very different now. I added a lot more black. You could barely see the handle. I added a lot more black. And I made it much more skinnier and smaller because it should be honestly, it's about the same length, but it's much more skinnier. And the barrel is still the same size. It still has a pump-action shotgun. Now it's just now it's gonna break. But, so yeah, nothing's really changed on this gun, except the size. So that is the combat shotgun. Then I have the heavy cannon. This one still pretty much looks the same. I've made it more smoother and just better looking in general. I had a little more dark red. I still do have the upgrades for it. I have the scope, which is just that, and the micro missile attachments on the side. You can't actually have both of these attachments used at the same time. It's either one or the other, which you could still switch between them, but I usually like using the precision, I think it's called the precision bolt. And then this is supposed to be like the clip or mag or whatever on the side, which it doesn't really look like that, but that's the heavy cannon. Then the plasma rifle has definitely gone through the most changes. This part looks a little weird, but I was trying to mimic the gap, the little gap in between them. But I made it a lot longer and smoother, and it just looks better. And it's all one color now. It's not like just light gray and dark gray. There's just some light gray right there, but that's it. And I think it looks better now. And this part looked really ugly on my old one, so I made it look better. There's still the little clip. Next one is the chainsaw. The chainsaw has definitely gone through the most changes. It looks pretty good now. I mean, seriously, now. I remember the chainsaw bit was in the middle, which is very inaccurate. It should be on the far side, because this is where the fan is, and then there's spikes. Sorry, I don't know if you guys can see that. There's spikes on the side. There's spikes up here. Bigger handle. And the chainsaw actually looks like a chainsaw now. It is much bigger than it should be compared to a normal chainsaw, but I think it still looks good. Oh, and the handle kind of comes from up this side and then goes in the middle and then comes down on this side, which it is like that in the game. So I think this one I pretty much rebuilt from scratch. So I'm pretty proud of this one, except for the fact that it's so much bigger than it should be. The next one is the super shotgun. It looks a lot smaller, which is kind of what I was going for. It should be much smaller, and honestly probably smaller than this. And it looks a lot more smoother and just nice, and it still can open up, and you could shells in them. I just wanted to hide the shells because you could the ammo, you could just see it. Now you can't. So there's the handle. There's the meat hook. Yep, just basic. I still have the BFG 9000. Still pretty much the same. I just made most of this dark gray now. Pretty much nothing changed on it. So that's that one. And I have a brand new weapon, the Crucible. I'm pretty glad I made this one because it looks nice. This little part's sticking out right here, so it could actually fit into Doomguy's hands. But I think it looks pretty great. It should be much more thinner than that. That is way too thick for a sword. But from the front, it looks great. So yeah, that's the Crucible. I believe that's all the weapons. Next is Samuel Hayden version 2. The main thing that really bothered me with most of my characters I actually made was scale. Pretty much everything in Doom Eternal is bigger than Doomguy. I could barely fit this guy on screen. I mean, he pretty much looks the same as my old one. I made him skinnier in the arms, and his head looks better. You could barely see it. So, pretty much, this dude's the same. Let me get, before he falls off the table, let me get Doomguy in here. You can see, this is about the size that he should be. I think Samuel actually should be maybe even a little taller. But because Samuel is about double the size as a normal person, but Doomguy is not a normal person, and he's in an armor suit, so that is just Samuel Hayden. He doesn't really look much different at all. I just made him much taller, so that was the whole point. The next one I remade is the Doom Hunter, and I actually had to take my phone off its stand because this dude's so big I can't actually, fit him in front of my phone. Wow, this dude is massive. And you know what's funny? Is he actually should probably be bigger. This is one of the main characters that I had to remake because of his scale. My first... I don't know why I just did not care about scale on my last video, but my first Doom Hunter was way too small. In fact, here's Doomguy next to him. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I still think my Doom Hunter should be bigger, but I'm pretty sure his chainsaw arm is actually taller than, or bigger than, Doomguy. I think the one thing I don't like about this is his little lame looking cannon thing in his hand. I don't think I recreated it very good well. Um, but whatever. I recreated his arm and how it gets kind of darker to the hand, which his hand should be that color, but I just kind of went back to tan. Um, moving this guy with one hand is hard. I've made the mistake of doing this. I gave him a ball joint at the waist, or like where his waist should be, because I just wanted him to have, more character. But he does fall over a bit, even with an extender, tightener joint. His chainsaw arm is very big. I've said this before. It still can spin, and for some reason, I think I remember making. Well, no, I think I told you my first or my last Doom. Sorry, I'm just can't get my words right. My last version of the Doom Hunter didn't look terrible. It was just way too small. The head, though, I think I did pretty good. Maybe the horns are a little too big, but the head's pretty much the same. It's just a little thicker, and I put the bigger spikes on the side and a big spike that I didn't even do the first time on his head. And of course, I have the core with the wire actually coming from it down to the waist. Oh, I haven't even been talking about the hover thing. The back here has the big booster on the back, which I didn't even do on my last one, which also has the wire coming from it. His hover thing, though, this is the shape of it in the game. I've got its cannons in the front, which before I just had them on the side somewhere. I didn't even do the rocket pods. I feel like I didn't even try on my last one. I've still got his ribs. I've been able to fit more ribs on the side now. I just kind of made his waist just black, because in the game it's just a bunch of wires and stuff and pistons, and I didn't really know how to recreate that, so... a little grill there. I kind of want to flip this dude over, because I put a lot of work into the bottom of this, but that's going to be very tricky. Alright, I'm doing it. Oh, this isn't going to go well. Alright, the bottom here, you can see he's got 2 boosters right there, and then the 8 boosters in the back. I thought this looked better than it actually does. So, yeah. I mean, that's it. I still have his gun. I still have his chainsaw arm, cannons, and there's little spikes, grills and stuff. That's the Doom Hunter. Now, I have a brand new demon that I think you guys will like. The Marauder. I cannot believe I haven't made this thing before, because the Marauder is awesome in Doom Eternal. The Marauder is taller than Doomguy, but not by much. I mean, he was a person originally. Let me put Doomguy right here. You see, just a little taller. Well, from this angle, it doesn't look like it, but the Marauder is a little taller. And in the lore, the Marauder is like one of Doomguy's friends, or, well, I'm not going to get into it, but there's like sentinels and stuff. And the Marauder was one of them. And then he died, and he was resurrected, but he was resurrected as a demon. Which is why he also has his own super shotgun. It does not have the meat hook on the side of it. And I did give it all the functionality as the other one. You get the shells can still be removed from it. I got his little, like, skirt thing in the back. I'm sure it has a name. I'm just dumb. The one thing that I really wish I could have recreated on this guy is, like, the disc, the sentinel armor on his arms. I just wasn't able to do that. I've still got the dot in the middle, which is what Doomguy has. And also the one shoulder with, like, the brighter brown color. His legs, I mean, they're legs. Nothing too special about him. He's got his belt. His back is just... Oh, there's some blue there. Probably should cover that up. And his head, he kind of looks like he's squinting, but I had to make his horns, those little spikes on his head, and the little spikes that came out through the side. And he also has like a skull face, which is kind of cool. And, well, I completely forgot about it, his axe, his humongous axe, his crucible axe. It's supposed to have a skull, like with a mouth, the top half and the bottom half of the mouth right here, but I just kind of did that. So yeah, I'm very happy I created the Marauder. This is, I believe, the last of my, tall characters I've made, because everything else is like robots and stuff. Well, other than Samuel Hayden, of course, because I did not remake the Tyrant because I'm all about scale now, and the Tyrant is humongous compared to Doomguy. I made the Tyrant before, and it was only like half an inch taller than my Doomguy, which honestly, like moving this guy over, compared to this Doomguy, like that the white robot down there should be like the size of the Tyrant. And on my video, it doesn't seem too big, but that thing is huge. That robot down there is huge. And the staff that I made for it, I actually based that robot off of like an Atlan mech from, well, Doom Eternal, which is what this, sometimes he likes to fall over, which is what the Sentinels used. So, I mean, that's it about him. I tried to recreate some of the little black veins from him turning evil, coming from his core thing. That is the Marauder. And yes, I even did remake my Arc mechs. I know more about them now, I know more about the lore, but my first, this was the reason I wanted to remake a video, is my first Arc mechs were terrible. They were so inaccurate, it surprised me. And I know you guys are going to be like, well, what's the difference between this one and that one? Well, there is a lot of differences. This one looks way more accurate. The legs didn't change much from the last version. The legs didn't look too terrible in the last version. And for some reason, we're using a lot of these ratchet joints. But the feet look much better now. Mainly the arms changed because now they're being held on by, the smaller ball joints. But the Arc mechs have like these things that stick out from the arms, or stick out from the body, and that's where the arms attach onto. And there are a lot of these robots in the game. Little turrets. And by the way, these are not the scale that they should be, even compared to a minifigure. Do I have a minifigure sitting? No, I don't. Alright, this is the size of a minifigure. This is not the scale that it should be. It should, well, be exactly the same height as that robot over there. They should be about the same height. But obviously I can't just build another one of those. This one specifically has the cannon, which looks good now, actually. And I did recreate the two cockpits. There's supposed to be a little gun here, but it's just so small and it looks dumb, so I didn't really make it. And then there's the cockpit up here for controlling the robot. I've got a hand on this. There's a hand on the side. I'm not sure why a robot of killing demons would really need a hand. Now the back looks much more accurate now, and even though this is way out of scale, it still can open up, and you could put a person in there if you want to. And I did do the exact same thing I did with the other versions, and I did build two, just because of the sheer amount of them in the game. There are a lot of them. And they're all, some of them are missing arms, most of them are missing arms, some of them are broken on the ground. But I'm glad to finally remake these dudes, because I needed to. They look terrible, my first versions. Just the shoulders look so much better than the first ones. Especially how cool the Arc mechs were. So, yeah, these are my recreations of the Arc mechs. And last but not least, the Icon of Sin. Yes, I did actually make the Icon of Sin. Now, obviously, this dude is huge, but he is not the size that he should be. Most of the bigger things should actually be the scale of the big robot down there, but obviously I can't make another one. But I'm very glad to even have made the Icon of Sin at all. I can barely even fit him in frame here, even just his head. But I put a lot of work in this dude. I think he looks awesome. He can't stand up by himself. He is doing it right now, but now that I've moved him, yeah, he's going to fall over. You could just barely, there we go. You could just barely see the top of his head. He's got these, flat horns, and they kind of curve down at the side. He doesn't actually have a nose. It's just kind of like a hole there. Or like a, I guess a vent. He's also got vents for where he could breathe. There's supposed to be, a lot of little lines here, red lines, but I couldn't really recreate that because of how small they are at the scale. But that was the best how I could do it. He's got a lot of red on him, little hints of red here, other than, well, obviously his eyes. And his proportions are very weird. He's got a humongous upper body and humongous arms with hands that are like the size of his face. I can't even get this dude in frame. Um, and his fingers are huge too, and they're all posable too, by the way. And of course, I've got his little palms, which like have fire come out of them. Um, but I could barely hold this guy up. And his small little waist with, very thin, long legs. Of course, they're triple jointed. His feet, little toes, nothing much. This guy can barely stand up because I'm using the small ratchet joints to keep this dude up. But he can't stand up. And, yeah, I think this guy is awesome. I wish I could have made him bigger, but I guess it wouldn't make it as fun to move this guy around, because it would be, like, impossible. Because it's hard to move this guy around right now, and he's, like, half the scale he should be. But if you guys ever actually played Doom Eternal, you'll know that there are a lot of Titans in that game. And Titans as in, not this Titan, but the other Titans, like Hell Barges, I can't remember what they're called. Ancestrials, just the bigger Titans. And I was planning on making one around the size of this dude. Well, obviously it'd have to be taller, because most of the Titans in the game are in fact taller than the Icon of Sin. But I don't know if I can make another dude this of the scale. His back is nothing special, nothing at all. So that is my Icon of Sin. It's getting very hard to hold this guy up. So you still can't see him. Hey guys. There we go. Icon of Sin. So that's all for my. Sorry, this video was a little late and kind of bad. But I'm just glad to finally get another video out. My next video. This was a long video. My next video should actually be on Titanfall 2, which is kind of interesting. My next video should just be on random stuff, like some more Five Nights at Freddy's characters, Liberty Prime from Fallout 4, Megamind Mech, the triple-decker couch mech from Lego Movie 2, things like that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.